when I like to try and play a shot into the wind, what I'll do is choke down, set up more like a pitch, get a little heavy on my left. What's up, everybody? Today, we're gonna talk about how wind affects your ball, right? So the cool part is on TrackMan, I can play with the wind and we can see how it affects your ball's flight, distance, all that good stuff. So we're gonna jump into that a little bit and talk about maybe some shot ideas you can do to get around that wind. But the cool part here with TrackMan is I can set to 5, 7, 10, 30 miles an hour wind and we can see what's different. So when you get out to go play, this is for you tournament folk, when you go out to go play, now you can look at the weather app and it says 5 to 10 miles an hour, 10 to 15 miles an hour wind. I'm going to give you a little bit of the information on how to combat that. So let's get to work. But before we do, I almost forgot. You need to subscribe to the channel. What are we doing here, folks? Please help me out. Subscribe, tell your friends, share, and leave me some comments down below. Tell me what you think. Now let's get into that video. All right, gang. So right now I have a shot, 164. That's about a stock 8-iron for me. No wind right now. So what we're going to do is hit a couple shots, get an idea of where it's going with no wind, and then we'll hit a few at, let's just go to 10 miles an hour. Let's just see what happens at 10. And when we turn it up to 10 miles an hour, we'll see how much distance loss we have. Maybe I can play with a shot to try and fix that. So let's just go ahead and whack a couple here with the 8 and see what we get. Little tuggaroo on the first swing. Just a little left. A little backdrop on this hole, which is always nice as it kind of trickles their way back. 165 carry. Let's see if we get another one about that ballpark, maybe a little more on line. A little closer, it's drawing off it though. That's not what we're looking for. A little too much inside out action on that one for the pro. 160 carry. Let's try it again, see if we get something a little bit better for you folks out there in YouTube land. Last one. Here's a good shot, Walter. All right, so that one flew a little farther. Hit that one a little better too. Still got a little bit of a left bias, which is about right for me with an 8-iron. 167 carry. So 160, 165, 167, thereabouts. Let's crank the wind up, and let's see what happens when we crank the wind up. So the cool part here on TrackMan is I click that little button, and I'll just slide it on over, get the direction straight in the face at 10 miles an hour. So let's see how much distance I'm going to get robbed because of TrackMan's 10 miles an hour into the face. Holy ballooning. Barely covered the front. I'll tell you that. Whew, that sucker went straight up. 149 carry, so about 12-yard loss plus, maybe closer to 15, honestly. But if you saw that on the video from recorded on the screen, you can see that ball just went straight up in comparison to the others. And that's typically what you're going to see is the ball will start to launch about this. You can launch it about the same, but it's going to apex at a different height. And obviously, if you play a lot of golf, you kind of already know that. But that's interesting to see if it's at 150 now. So let's see if we can hit another one, see if it's about 150 again. So high. Shorter now, I think. It might be about the same, actually. That's a lie. It's a different pin. There's 2 pins on every green, so I know it looked like I hit that one close. 146 carry. That's even shorter. Like I said, that one ballooned up really quick. Let's take a look at that peak apex. That peak apex is hitting 42 yards in the air, so over 120 feet. That's pretty stinking high. I want to change one of those numbers so we can look at that on the home screen there. Let's put it back to just regular 0 mile an hour winds, and let's see what my peak height is if I didn't have a 10 mile an hour wind into the face. Just lost the fuzzy off of my mic. That was about the right distance. 38 yards, so not too much height difference between those two shots. So now, before we go back to a into the wind scenario, let's just see what happens when we go downwind. 10 miles an hour downwind. So we switched it up. We're 10 miles an hour behind. 164 shot. Let's see what we get with a distance boost with the windage. That was hit good. So let's see how she flies. Oh, way deep. Woo! 175 carry. So there's 10 yards and added distance. So let's go at 10 miles an hour into the face, and let's see what happens with a 10 mile an hour in the face, and let's try and hit a little different shot to manage that wind. When we first hit 8 iron, it was 164, plus or minus a few yards on my carries. Turned to 10 miles an hour into, and it became a shorter by about 150 or less carry, 149, 146 were those numbers. So I'm going to show you here a shot, and we're going to figure out a better way to get through that wind. So we turn the wind around to 10 in the face. So here I got like a 6 iron. So when I try to flight it into the wind, we just bump the wind up 10 miles an hour into the face. When I like to try and play a shot into the wind, what I'll do is choke down, set up more like a pitch, get a little heavy on my left, and then I'll go up a club or two. So 10 miles an hour in the face, it could be a 1 club or 2. It's kind of your choice. I'm going up 2. And then I like to swing lazy at it. So we're not trying to do anything different. We're just going to go a little slower than normal so I don't spin the ball too much. So we got ball in the normal spot in the stance. I'm leaning a little forward. And I'm just going to make a nice little lazy move at it. That one's a little more at it. And you see how I even hit and released as it landed? That's a little bit more ideal, especially when you're going into the wind. And you look at the club head speed is a lot lower, spin rate's a lot lower, height's lower, 150 carry. So I could hit that one just a little harder, flown it there just a little bit better. Still not a bad result if I had to play it into a 10 mile an hour wind. Right, so that was 10 miles an hour into the wind, and found a little shot to get underneath it. Now we're going 20 into the wind. I brought back the 8 iron. Let's see what happens when 20 miles an hour into the wind and see what it does. Because we had 10 miles an hour, brought 165-ish 8 iron to 150 at best. Let's see how much it eats it up. Plus, let's see what happens to that peak height. See if it goes up a bit. Oh, that is ballooned. Not good. Wow, stopped fast too. See what happened to that height. 46 yards in the air, 20 miles an hour into the wind, and 125 carry. Let's see if we can hit it one more time. See what happens. There it balloons again. Come on. That's even shorter. Oh, I didn't even hit that one worse. I didn't feel like. Holy cow, 113. So now you can tell like any kind of miss. I mean, that wasn't hit as good as the first one, But I definitely want to put it like, that's probably like a 160 versus like a 165 like the first one was. And that just got destroyed in distance. Here, one more go. That one I didn't hit great. So this one I'd be short too. Like really short. Oh no. All right, so now we're in trouble because if you miss it at all, it's going nowhere. Let's see what happens if we can change it, hit a little different shot. So we'll pull back the 6-iron. The last shot I probably could have got away with the 7. This one being 20 miles an hour into the wind. We'll hit the 6. We're still going to be lazy with it, but because if I hit a full 6, it's 195. 195. That's probably about right. So at 195, if I'm losing 30, well, I'm losing closer to 40 yards here, I could probably rip full 6-iron, but the problem is it's going to balloon up on me a lot. So I'm going to try this little punch 6. We're going to see what happens. The graphics on the screen are waving in the wind with the trees. That's definitely influential if you're on the golf course to see that moving. That's always a lot of wind. Let's see if we can pelt the 6-iron under the wind, see what we get. I hit that one good. Hopefully it flies there. Ooh, just enough carry. Still not enough to get there though. So just for sake of demonstration, right? So that's launching 10, 13 degrees. Let's hit a full 6 just to see the difference. Got away with one, but see, it went the same distance anyways. So I took a full chop with the 6 versus that kind of punchy 6, and it didn't quite get there, right? So this is a shot where if you have this much wind in the wind from 165, we're talking about what are we going to do to get it to the hole. Right now, it's looking like I need to hit like almost a full 5 or a punch of 5-iron even just to make sure I cover that bunker. So let's go give that a try. So we'll just rip full 5-iron here, see what we get. Well, there you have it, folks. Apparently, when it's 20 miles an hour into the wind, that is a solid 3 clubs more going from 8 to 5-iron just to get to cover, hitting a peak height of 50 yards almost, at 48 yards, which is absolutely crazy. So when we're talking about heavy winds, you can't be bashful. And just for giggles, we're going to turn this one around real quick, hit one last shot, see what happens with 20 miles an hour downwind goes, and we'll hit pitching wedge from 165, see if we can get it there. 20 miles an hour downwind. 165, we'll see if pitching wedge gets the job done. .170 carry with pitching wedge. Apparently I need to club down even more than I thought. And don't mind the quick neck snap back to the camera because that was somebody calling me in. It's always fun to have your watch vibrating in your backswing. Let's see what happens. Might need to shorten it up even more. 170 carry with pitching wedge, my goodness. You can hit a dopey pitching wedge, 20 miles behind, huge bounce. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so wind makes it challenging, folks. So what I tell you here is, when you're playing into and downwind conditions, you gotta play with what club you're hitting, and how creative you can make these shots. So like that last one only got 27 feet and 27 yards in the air. The one before it into the wind was like 48 yards in the air. So you're gonna have a lot of height changes playing these windy days. You gotta learn to control that, hitting these lower shots. So if you wanna hit something lower, just remember, choke down a little bit, feel more pitch shotty, lean into it some, play just maybe a golf ball back, and then from there you can be lazy with your swing to try and help knock some of that spin off, and then play with how many clubs you need. Like I was just showing you there, when it gets to 20 miles an hour in the wind, I actually had to go up to a 5-iron from an 8. And then at 10 miles an hour, I could have done the 7-iron probably a little more comfortably than I did the 6. But the 6 still got it there. It was plenty of club to cover that. So get out there and practice on those windy days, even though it's not as much fun. It's a good way to tempt you. One of these next videos, we'll talk about what happens when the wind starts crossing left and right. Until next time, golfers, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave me a little note in the comment section below, and we'll see you next time.